Welcome back to Inside the MAC. We're here talking week 3, looking ahead to week 4. Know this video is a little later than normal with as far as the week by week breakdown. A little under the weather. One of the side effects of coaching high school ball is when all of the school gets sick. I inherently being around the same kids tend to get a little head cold here, so I might sound a little funky. Trying to fit this hat in too. It looks super tight right now. I'm hoping that it wears in. It's a new hat, but you know how these things go. We're gonna go week by week, or excuse me, game by game from week 3. Just how they were recorded. It's not really in order of how the games were played, but looking at the first one, Ohio State. Now, here's what I'm gonna say, which is gonna sound wild: is Parker Navarro and the Ohio offense looked human. They looked stoppable. That might be because they're going against the number 1 team in the nation. They lost that game 37-9. They forced turnovers. They had 2 interceptions against Julian Sayin. They obviously gave up a lot of yards, and they know they lost a game. But to me, there's a reason, and we'll get into power rankings later, why they're Ohio staying at number 1. It's because of this game. And you can say, well, they lost by a lot of points. Sure, they did. But also, they didn't look depressing. Throughout the week, the odds and the spread went down. They initially, I think it was released as a 38.5 point favorite. I think it closed at 28.5, which 28 was the amount they lost by, but that feels like right math. Could be wrong. Who knows? Regardless, it was something that I looked at that game and it's like, man, Ohio's 1-2. They're a team that I think is in that top in the MAC that could, if there's a chance of push for a playoff, they could be one of those teams with 2 loss, though. I don't know how possible that is. But you never know how the season shapes up. I don't know if there's currently any group of 5 that's really standing out. But Ohio, they did look human, but they're looking human against the number 1 team in the nation. It's going to be tough for who faces them next. Then we go to Western Michigan, Illinois. Illinois won 38-0. Not really much breakdown in that game. I thought Western Michigan looked a little worse than I expected them to. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a blowout. I thought they would at least score. Maybe Illinois ranked at 9, I still think is a little overhyped, a little high of a ranking. But, you know, in a game where you should take care of business, you do take care of business. So you got to give credit to the Fighting Illini. Western, though, got some guys in there. Here's the one thing I will say about Western is I think Brock Lowry needs to be the guy. All right, he had 7 carries, 40 yards. He was 10 of 16 throwing with 78 yards. Brady Jones, nothing against the guy. He's a good player, but I think there's a lot of 2 quarterback systems going on right now in the MAC, and it's time to move on. It's time to say Brock Lowry's our guy. Really pour into him. You know, pour gas on that fire, and let's see what the kid can do, because I think that is what's holding Western back from maybe being a little bit better. They're 0-3 right now. They could have beat North Texas, obviously, in that overtime game. But, you know, it is what it is. Then we're looking at Central Michigan taking on the Wolverines. 63-3. Here's what I'll say. Not surprised by it, A. B, it's tough to play a good team coming off of a loss. Like, you're talking your Blue Bloods or even your higher Power 4 teams. If they're coming off of a defeat, watch out, because they got something to prove, and Michigan proved it. Bryce Underwood looked really, really good. I will say this. They were going against Central Michigan, so Michigan fans, don't put too much stock into that. That's just kind of where that is. Central's still going with these 2 quarterbacks. They've done 2. They've done 3. I think Angel Flores is the guy. If I was who you're going to put in at quarterback, Junior Angel Flores, I think it's either him or Jaden Glass. Joe Lavis is a good player. He's done some things for Central in the past. I just don't think he is as explosive anymore to give what they're looking at. I mean, Angel Flores led the team in rushing, 76 yards on the ground, 24 in the air. He threw it more than Joe Lavis, but similar to Western, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. And that's a sentiment as true as time. Now we get to the first MAC conference game, and boy, was it a ball game. All right, Buffalo, Kent State. We're going to take a look at that. Buffalo won 31-28. Kent State kind of controlled the game for a minute. We went up 14-0. Buffalo makes it 14-10 at halftime. Buffalo has a good third quarter, and then some things just didn't fall the way, and Buffalo got the final laugh at the end. Taquan Robinson, 28-40, 318, and 3 touchdowns for the Buffalo. L.J. Henderson was slowed a little bit, 75 yards. Nick McMillan, 117 yards receiving and a touchdown. Here is what I am going to say. There's a reason. Yeah, it was only one spot, but Kent State went from 11 to 10 in the power rankings. We'll obviously cover all of that more later, but I think I might have been wrong about Kent State, and there's a reason why I'm wrong about Kent State, and it comes under center. It comes from a guy named by Drew DeShields. Now, I learned a little bit more about this guy as the week has progressed since this game has taken place. This guy has battled knee injury after knee injury, and let me tell you, he's playing good football. 22 of 32, 279, 2 touchdowns. He had 37 yards on the ground, another score. If you watch the game, you can say box score. Yeah, it's a nice box score, not incredible, but if you watch the game, boy, this kid plays tough. All right? You wouldn't know that he's been battling knee injuries. You wouldn't know that he is, fought back year after year with these knee injuries. He's got his chance, and he's starting to prove a little bit. Cade Walford throwing the ball to him and Tariq Mulder. So he's got a lot of guys that he can get the ball to. He spread the wealth around. There's 22 receptions, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys caught a pass. All right? 10 guys caught a pass. That's good quarterback play. He's tough. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say about that. All right? I played the quarterback position in high school, switched when I got to the collegiate level. But as someone who played the quarterback spot and in college seeing when our success was with who our quarterbacks were, there's something to be said about your team toughness kind of goes with the quarterback toughness. You can have, 21 tough guys that start both sides of the ball, and if your quarterback's not a tough guy, it will reflect. It's hard to do things without a tough quarterback. Drew DeShields, you wouldn't know he's been injured. He plays hard, and I do think he is a better player than. I don't even know if people thought he was a bad player. I wouldn't even go that far. It's the injuries have battled him his career, so you never really got to see him in fruition. And we pray for his health this season. Wish him a healthy season because I think with him healthy, Kent State is going to be an exciting team. These Golden Flashes have a little life after watching this game. And I tell you what, I've tried to be impartial when it comes to MAC games, but boy, God, I was pulling for the Golden Flashes there. Buffalo, they didn't look terrible. I'll say this. I think they were in the same boat as a lot of people. I don't know if they were expecting the punch Kent State was given. I don't know if they were quite prepared for Drew DeShields to be slinging that thing around, moving and running tough, running through guys. So it was a cool thing to see. It was a great ball game. And I think it's going to wake Buffalo up a little bit to, hey, we kind of got to lock back in and refocus up because they did take care of business in the second half. They got the W. But Kent State, when you see that on the schedule, if DeShields is that quarterback, you're going to have a little bit of worry. Moving on to the Ball State-New Hampshire game. Ball State won 34-29. Here's the thing. I think Kyle Kelly is a solid player. I think Ashley is a dude. But I don't know. Ball State, to me, there's a reason they fell the last spot in the rankings. It's not an impressive win over New Hampshire to win that game by 5. And it was a close game throughout. I don't know. The Ball State team is. It seems like there might be an identity issue, and that's probably me just reading into watching some stuff. But I think they can get things done. I think they can move the ball. I just don't think they're explosive. I don't know if they're going to struggle, similar to how I think Central's going to struggle when it comes to close games, because they don't have really a vertical passing game much of at all, and they haven't really been forced to do that. Central, I think, in a close ball game is in a rough spot if they're trailing. We go to the Toledo Morgan State game. Morgan State's they were an 0-2, now 0-3 FCS team. Toledo 60-0, 43-point second quarter. It's not a read much into it. Toledo looked good. They did what they needed to do, maybe even a little bit above and beyond what they were expected to do. But, hats off. But to me, that doesn't move you up anywhere. So Toledo fans that were getting after me, I hear you. I do. But also, it's not beating a team you should beat by 50 just because you beat them by 60 is not moving you up when Ohio looked better against Ohio State than everyone thought. All right, then we go to Bowling Green stealing a game against Liberty. Now, Bowling Green, they moved up as well, sitting in the 3rd spot now in the MAC Power Rankings. And we're losing the camera here, so that's a little tough. We're going to have to turn that off. I hate when it does that. I don't know why it does that, but we're here regardless. And then we go to Eastern Michigan, Kentucky. Kentucky 48-23 over Eastern. Eastern looked a little bit better than I expected them to be honest. They're 0-3 though. They got work to do. Iowa destroyed UMass 47-7. Good for UMass to really not look that good at all. Kind of proving my point. Akron finally scores. They still get the loss though. They're 0-3, lost 31-28 to UAB, and that's where they stand. Looking at the power rankings, rapid fire here: 1-13. Ohio, Toledo, Bowling Green, Buffalo, Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois, Western, Central, Eastern, Kent State, Akron, UMass, Ball State to round us out. I think that's kind of where it stands. There's a couple changes. Buffalo and Miami of Ohio, I think both fell. Bowling Green pulling that win over Liberty as the underdog. The Western Central I've been getting a lot of beef with, but here's why I put Western above Central is Western can do more things. Central's so one-dimensional that it really limits them. Akron moves from 13 to 11. Kent State moves from 11 to 10. Now we look ahead to week 4. MAC games, Bowling Green, Louisville. That's going to be a tough one for the Falcons. Miami of Ohio, UNLV. That could be a real proving game for Miami. We'll see how that goes. Central Michigan, Wagner. Florida State, Kent State, Ball State, UConn, Louisiana, Eastern Michigan. Troy, Buffalo. Toledo, Western Michigan. Gardner, Webb versus Ohio. Northern Illinois at Mississippi State. And it's Duquesne. I'm not sure. I'm not French. Can't speak French. I feel like it looks like a French word. I could be wrong. They're taking on Akron. We're going to break down those games tomorrow morning. That's your Week 3 recap as we look ahead to Week 4 tomorrow. Have a great day. You've been listening to Inside the MAC.